What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about XRP today. It is the 30th day of September, and here we are, about $2.82 as the price. 8 hours, 17 minutes left in the day here. It's not just 8 hours, 17 minutes left in the day, but left in the 3-day time frame and left in the month as well. So we've got 3 significant closes coming up in about 8 hours here. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it. Okay, let's do some price forecasting for XRP now. I have made the claim recently, as of yesterday's close, that the low was in for Bitcoin. Now, of course, the price moves down right after we make that claim, but I was expecting that we'd see something down to about 113.2 to 112K, something in that area there. So we very well could even go lower from here. In that time, XRP could certainly move down as well. I am curious to see if XRP has found its low or not, because, again, it's really not likely that you have a 1, 2, 3, 4 bottom. You don't see quadruple lows. That just doesn't happen. And sometimes, I mean, if we're looking at this here, let's just see from this low. I mean, sometimes fake outs happen, but even this, to me, it would make the most sense that we come down lower. What doesn't make sense is that if Bitcoin found its low, but XRP goes lower, I don't really see that happening, right? Like, what would this be if you were to see a lower low? And you'd probably see some kind of slightly lower low. You wouldn't get a quintuple bottom, right? That's not what would happen. You'd get something that's discernibly lower than these lows, maybe a 6% drop. That would imply then that Bitcoin would have to drop, what, like 3% or more? If Bitcoin drops 3% or more, we're likely going to go below this low here. And it is possible, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, it is possible for Bitcoin to come all the way back down here and still form a higher low. It is very possible to do that. I would think if we went down this low at that point in time, the lower low capabilities would come back into play, right? And it's very possible, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, it is quite possible that we do see a lower low than this low, that we even go below this low here, and we go down to 104K still. That is still on the table. It's just statistically less likely with the last 2 days of price action, right? If today we move down, we engulf yesterday's price action, and we close below, if we close below like 112K, okay, at that point, maybe there's some bearish things. And we're talking about Bitcoin because I think this does pertain to XRP. If we close below this 382 here, then maybe we could talk about going lower. But the only reason why I'm entertaining that thought, going lower than this low and this not being the low at the moment, is because if XRP goes lower, the only way that I can really make sense of that in my head would be that Bitcoin goes lower. Or the less sensible thing is that we've got a bottom here, a bottom here, a bottom here, and a bottom here, and that's the bottom. It's a quadruple bottom. I just don't believe in those kind of things. Those don't happen. They're inevitable breakthroughs, right? They're inevitable breakdowns is what they are. And I mean, if we look at this, let's just see if we can find an example of this ever happening, right? Like here, for example, you had a bottom here, 1, 2, 3, 4 lows. You did pump, but inevitably you came back down. You had a quintuple bottom at one point, and then you went lower, right? They don't uphold. They don't uphold at all. This is kind of an example right here. You did the same thing. You moved up and then you moved down. Is this a foreshadowing? Is this a bearish forecasting of things to come? Are we going to move up and get a double top or a slightly higher high and then come back down and see a lower low? Is that what's due for us? Are we due to see some volatility, not just for XRP, but probably for the whole crypto markets? I'm curious. Because if XRP moves up and then comes back down like this, the crypto market, that's probably a forecasting for the crypto market as a whole. Not that we went through every single example where there is 4 lows, but the 2 that we could find, they did the same thing. They moved up and then they moved down, right? Moved up and then you moved down. Then you saw lower lows. And these were in the earlier days. Things were a little bit more rambunctious back then, but I don't know. I'm having a hard time. I'm not having as hard of a time being decisive with Bitcoin here, having found the low, just because of the way that you're structured here. It looks good. But XRP is making me second guess that a little bit here. Because again, sometimes when Bitcoin says something but XRP says something else, we go with the XRP chart, and that tends to actually provide the truth for the Bitcoin chart. If you don't know what I'm saying here, I'm saying that if we get a bullish look on Bitcoin but a bearish look on XRP, typically Bitcoin will come down. That's not because XRP leads Bitcoin. I think it's because for whatever reason the chart is just easier to read on XRP. It's more true, where there's more tomfoolery going on and manipulation going on in the BTC chart, perhaps, is the way that I'm thinking about that. Anyways, enough talk. Looking at the 1 hour time frame here, the RSI does look bearish at the moment. Looks very bearish. I hope it's clear as to why it looks bearish. Lower lows, lower highs, downtrend, you're in the oversold zone. Stochastics look bearish, rejecting the oversold zone. It's not a good look. And the MACD crossing below the zero is also bearish in itself. Does that mean that we go below this low? No, it doesn't. Again, I think it'd be really weird to not go below these lows, but who knows? Maybe we find support at 278, 277, something in this area here, and then we move back up. If we get above $2.92, really what it is $3, right? $3 is the price. If we can get above $3, you guys, I'm sold. That's the low. There's no doubting it. But we got to get above $3 first, okay? And even then, do we just move up and then at a later date we come back down? Is that what's going to happen? I mean, I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll keep that in our heads going forward in case we do get a pump here, right? And at the moment, I have a feeling we move down a little bit, but I am a little bit bullish, mainly because of Bitcoin. Okay. 4 hour time frame here, rejecting the overbought zone once, twice, 3 times. Not good, never good. Typically, that promotes you to lower prices. Not lower than this, but just lower than where we are here. It could promote lower than this. Stochastics look bearish in the MACD. While you did cross above the zero, you're kind of in a slump now. I don't know if this is enough reason for me to believe that we would see lower lows, right? These might be, but this makes me think we'll hold up a higher low. So again, running back to that idea of holding that 277, 278 area as support, something in that zone there. If not, maybe 274, 272 at the lowest, but I doubt that we go lower than that, at least at this point in time. The only way that I would see us going lower than that is if we're going below this low, and the only way that I see us going below that low is if Bitcoin itself closes below 112K today or tomorrow, really any day, but today specifically would be very incriminating. If today we close back below 112K, I'm going to make another video talking about how, okay, guys, we're going back down. I'm going to be flip-flopping, man. Flip-flop, flip-flop. But that's how it is sometimes. You have to be fluid with the charts because the charts themselves are not rigid. Anyways, XRP. You've got the prospects of bullishness, but you're just not getting there, man. It's like you want to be in the overbought zone, but you're just not doing it. That's not good. Stochastics have more room to run. It's not that that's bad, but that just means that you're going to go lower. The MACD that's probably your best quality here, but the MACD is less reliable on the 4 hour than some of these other indicators are. The daily RSI rejecting the 50, that's not good. Holding this area for support is nice, but are you going to hold it as support? It remains to be seen. 8 hours left in the day. There's certainly a lot of time left to come back up. We're only down 2%. We can certainly move back up more than that in a 8 hour period. I think if today could come back up and close green, that would be phenomenal. That'd really shake out the worries of going lower. Stochastics make me think that we have lower to go. And the MACD on the daily as well makes me think that we have lower to go. You know, really, all three of these indicators, to me, tell me that we do have lower prices to go. So I'm doing a weird thing here, which I don't think I've done in probably this whole year of 2025, because we picked up on this back at the end of 2024 with XRP being more honest in its charts. So I'm gonna do something that I don't normally do. And I'm setting myself up for failure. Either that or I'm going to be 100% right. Whatever, we'll see. I think XRP will see lower lows, and I don't think Bitcoin will, at least at this point in time. The chart on Bitcoin is more bullish than XRP, which is weird, but hey, I think we'll see a slightly lower low. I don't think this will be a breakout, right? We've got this, I know we've got this overall phase here, but I don't think it's going to be like a breakout that's in a measure move correspondence with this. No, I don't think that's the case at all. I was talking to somebody yesterday. They're arguing my point, and it's okay. Arguing is good. We should argue, right? If we have different opinions, let's argue. I was saying that people are drawing this descending triangle like this, and they're just disregarding this. They're still calling it a descending triangle over here. And this individual was saying, well, what if the descending triangle is here instead? What if that first part was the blemish and this part's the real descending triangle? And to that effect, yeah, it looks like a descending triangle. Anybody watching this, yeah, that looks like a descending triangle to me. Absolutely it does. From a low to a high, it fits all the qualifications. It's nice and tidy. And if it is a descending triangle, that puts us down at $2.25. It is possible, and maybe a little bit lower than that actually. It put us down at about $2.22. Maybe we go down that low, but I doubt it, right? And let's actually put a line down there right now. Hold on. We'll delete everything else here in a second. Delete, delete, delete. And then we'll throw on our fibs. We take a low. Should we take this low or this low? Let's actually look at both of them and see which one's being more regarded. So from low to high here, you are finding support right at that 382. Very close. Here, a lot less respect, but a little bit of respect on the 236 there. I suppose I like this one more, and it is the overall low, so we'll use that. Low to high, that line does take you down to the golden ratio, $2.20. From this low to high, it takes you right to the 786. So both fibs, regardless of how you cut it, there's definitely significance down at this area, and that does line up with the measure move. The only issue I have with that is that XRP at that rate would drop 21%. If XRP is dropping 21%, man, the average altcoin's got to be dropping like 30%. 25% or more, right? Maybe 40%. That'd just be crazy. I don't see that. That's not a thing that I have in my bingo card. If XRP is dropping 21%, Bitcoin's going to drop 10%, right? Or more. And I mean, I could see that happening, but 10% is pretty extreme. I just don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. Just because I don't see it happening doesn't mean it can't happen. We definitely could. But enough of the hypotheticals. The one thing that I'm just trying to say here is identifying this as a descending triangle rather than taking it from this top and identifying this whole range. I think that's a much better approach if you are a bear. I think that is a much better, you have a better argument there. But my argument would be, I think that's too much. I don't think that XRP is going to drop that much. I would think more so, and this is where I got distracted, was what I was going to say is I think we just drop a little bit below this area. Perhaps what we do is we go right below the 382 and right back up. That's actually very common to do. We'd come in line with this area of resistance here, find support, and then move up. We'd go just below $2.60 or right around there, and that was the original thought all along. If we go lower, that's fine, but I would think that we hold 240 as support, 245 as support, something right here with prior resistance there as well. I just have a hard time seeing us get down here, but just because I have a hard time seeing it doesn't mean it can't happen. Time will tell. We'll definitely see. Looking at the daily time frame again, overall the daily RSI right now is very neutrally postured. You're in a kind of bearish formation here in this neutral essence of the RSI. The stochastics do look bearish, and the MACD looks bearish. So with all three of those things together, I would say it's not hard to imagine at all that we go lower. I am thinking that we go lower. I did say I thought that if Bitcoin confirmed its low that we might flip bullish on XRP and say that the low is in there. But until we get above $3, I'm maintaining the position that we can go lower. Which again, I think I'm setting myself up for failure because either Bitcoin's going to go lower or XRP is not going to go lower. Because it's really hard for me to imagine that XRP can drop 6% or more and that Bitcoin doesn't see a lower low. It's kind of hard for me to imagine that. But that's what the charts are saying, so I'm sticking with the charts. It's kind of an odd call. It's not something that I would normally make, but if we get above $3, just understand as soon as we're at $3 or more, I'm bullish on XRP. No longer do we expect lower lows, and that in itself would also be odd because now we're disregarding the quadruple bottom, which I would think inevitably breaks. But time will tell. We'll see how it goes. Daily indicators suggest lower prices. Unless we get saved in the next 8 hours, unless we come up and close this day green, I think it's very likely that we do continue going lower. On a weekly time frame, this is where things get really bullish. Absolutely, they do. You look at the weekly RSI. Overall, it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. You are spending most of your time above this line, less of your time below it. You're getting deep in the overbought zone, not so deep in the oversold zone at all. In fact, you barely ever get below the 40. Very bullish overall. You have lower lows here in your RSI, technically. Slightly lower lows there, while maintaining higher lows in the price, technically. Right? Not by a wicking formation, but by a closing formation. So that is hidden bullish divergence. Same thing on the stochastics. Not on the MACD, but the MACD overall is bullish. So regardless of if you go lower than this low or not, I would expect that over the weeks to come, over the months to come, XRP, you have some very phenomenal price action in mind. We did an in-depth video yesterday. I'm not going to do it here, but really highlighting the reasons why we believe that anything below $10 is just laughable. It's literally laughable. Like, haha, it's not going to happen. It's literally laughable, laughable that anything, a price prediction below $10 for XRP exists. Anybody who's saying XRP, whenever it breaks out, it's going to stop at $4, $5, $7, $9. It's going to stop there at any and all of these targets. They're timid. They're shy. They're probably looking at the charts the same way that we are, but they're looking at it and they're like, oh no, that even though all this stuff lines up with $13 and above, there's no way XRP could. There's no way that we would see a move like that. Absolutely not. How could something like that ever happen between now and the end of the year? We've never moved at a pace much like that ever in our lives. You get the facetiousness, right? I'm being sarcastic. If we did the same move, we'd be at $20 by the middle of December. And I'm not calling for that. That's cheap. That's easy. I'm not calling for that. I'm just saying, and maybe we put it, maybe you say, well, we broke out down here. You're supposed to measure it from this low here. This is the bull flag. Okay, cool. That's at 1062. Still, there's no way to look at this where we're stopping anywhere below $10. And beyond that, if you really look at it with the fibs here, it doesn't make sense at all they'd stop at $10 or anywhere around here. If you're going to stop, you're going to stop at the 1272 or the 1414. The next target area is the 1414. And there's a lot of things that line up with that $13 to $16, $17 area, and that's where we will inevitably go. So regardless of however low we go here, go to 220. I don't care. Go to 217. The move up is dramatically larger than the move down, right? It's not that big of a deal. And I do expect that we'll move up to $13 or beyond, but I got nothing else. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all. Take care. Bye-bye.